This incredible game was brought to my attention by David Llada on Twitter. Shirov doing Shirov stuff. What a player. White has just played the move g3, allowing queen takes h1. How can this be? Let's have a look at this game. d4, d5, c4, c5, sending Shirov into a 4-minute think. Why not? It's not moves you see often anyway. C takes d5, queen d5, and now knight f3. I believe this is the reason we don't see it often. C takes d4, knight c3. With these logical knight moves, this opening is very off-putting to play as black. You're behind development already. Queen a5, knight takes d4. g3 next, bishop g2. Black's just wasting his time with his queen. In the game, knight f6 was played, but why not e5? Knight b3, attacking the queen once again, queen c7, and then g3. Knight d5 coming, you're just so behind in development. I mean, what is the point in this opening? Knight f6, and Shirov has been surprised so far, so it's really cool this next move, bishop d2. It's nice to shock your opponent after you have been shocked yourself. Shirov spent 5 minutes with this strange move. Other possibilities were more logical, g3, e5, knight b3, queen c7, perhaps in such a position. Black was familiar with the setup. Bishop g2, castle, next, bishop e7, and the game goes on. Queen d3 is a nice option, trying to get an endgame, in which white is better because he is ahead in development already. After e5, queen b5 check, take, knight a6, g3, easy moves for white to play. After bishop d2, this sent black into an 18-minute think, ending up playing e5. First thing, why not queen d8? This is the first move I thought of because really you're saying bishop d2 was a waste of time. Now I am attacking the knight on d4, so you have to waste time moving the bishop again. You don't want to play e3. Bishop f4 is the idea. No wonder black spent 18 minutes thinking. Knight b5 is next. Let's have a look at knight c6 first. Knight b5 doesn't work because of e5. If you take, castle check, bishop d7, black gets out. That's why after knight c6 it's good to just grab it. Black can trade the queens, and after g3 white's moves are just really easy. Or even better, e4, controlling d5 and the bishop can come to c4. So after queen d8, bishop f4, knight d5 is a nice option for black. But black is just behind in development anyway. Let's just keep the bishop on f4. White continues, queen d2. So what if you take, after queen f4, white's moves are still just too easy. He's just way ahead. Knight can go to b5, castle queen side, e3. The moves are too easy. Back to the game, e5 played, knight b5, and now bishop b4 played, giving white the bishop pair after a3. A better option was queen b6 just to get out the way. You can play a6 next, bishop c5. The game continues. If you don't play bishop b4, if you play this blunder, we've already seen this trick. You can go knight d5. After queen takes b5, knight c7 check. Bishop b4 played, leading to a worse position already. a3 getting the bishop pair, bishop takes c3 played. No point playing bishop e7 because knight d5 is the same as before. Can't take, knight c7 winning the queen. After bishop takes c3, white throws in the intermezzo knight d6 check. King up, bishop takes c3. King's on e7, the bishop can go to b4. It just looks so nice. This looks like it has gone all wrong for black. Queen d5 trying to trade queens, and now bishop b4. Incredible that Shirov spent 41 minutes thinking here. Perhaps he was thinking whether to just win the pawn. If he did, I would not be going through this game. White can win a pawn with a queen trade. Take, bishop takes e5, knight c6, the bishop can go back to g3. Rook d8, you could take the bishop, but rook d1 and e4 next. White is just much better. Bishop b4, knight c6, yikes, giving a double check, whilst winning a piece at the same time. Knight takes c8 check. But what is black's argument after king e6? The knight is trapped. What to do now as white? Because if black just gets his knight back, black is the one who is way ahead in development. Shirov now plays a brilliant move. Shirov doing Shirov stuff, according to David Llada. The king is misplaced on e6. Shirov decides to sacrifice a rook, for the fact that the black queen will do nothing Absolutely nothing for the rest of the game. A brilliant move beginning with g3. Wow. The rook on h1 is hanging. Thank you to Shirov for playing this move, or else I would not be going through this game. Thank you to David Llada for pointing this game out on Twitter. Queen takes h1 played, queen d6 check, flushing the king out. Wow. King f5. Now what? Bishop h3 check is legal, knight e7 check is not possible because of the knight on c6. Queen d3 check played. Very important to stop the black king going to g6. If you castle away, the king can just tuck itself back. If you go bishop h3, queen takes h2, queen d3 check, e4. Black is getting out. Very important after king f5, queen d3 check played by Shirov. e4, knight d6 check, knight comes back into the action. And here, well, the king can just go back to g6. The king still made its way here. But how to check the black king next? Where can the white queen go? Queen to b5. Queen to f5 check will be made very soon. Black needs to stop that, because after check, then the bishop could come back to d2 to give a check if the black king was on h6. Black now plays knight e7. Knight comes back to c4, planning knight e5 check. Knight back to c6 to stop it, and now queen takes b7. Really cool move. White is transforming the position. The bishop on b4 will be lost, but we continue to flush the king out, but at the same time the black queen is doing absolutely nothing in the corner on h1. Knight takes b4, and now knight e5 check. King f5, a takes b4. It is just a capture, but it gives white the option to play rook a5. That's why in this position, black played a5. What happens if we play another move like rook ac8? Then knight takes f7, knight d6 check. Just winning the exchange back. King g6 you can take, and white is just completely winning. Rook takes a7 next. After a takes b4, black played a5 to stop white playing rook a5. Knight takes f7, knight d6 check, the queen can come back. Queen is still useless on h1, rook f8, rook c1. White has found another way to get to the 5th rank. h6, knight d6 check, king g6 trying to hide, and now rook c7. White gets to the 7th instead. The white king is still in the middle, but the black queen still does nothing. It's okay, man, it's okay. Knight h5 defending g7. Why not rook g8? Because queen can come back. It's all about the f5 square. Queen to b5. Mate on f5 coming very soon. King h7. You cannot hide. Queen f5 check. The king has to go back. Only legal move. And now mate in 1. Really cool. Knight s7 check. It's kind of a smothered mate because the queen on f5 covers h7. Knight h5 played in the game. f3. Really cool move by Shirov. What are we saying? We want to trade a pawn? No. Because the difference is, in this position, after e takes f3, the black queen is not controlling the e4 square. Incredible idea. To bring the white queen back into the center to check the king. After e takes f3, queen e4 check, it will be made very soon. If you go king g5, h4 check, king f6, all these squares are covered, so let's put the queen on the delightful square that is f5, queen f5 mate. This did not happen. f3, really cool move by Shirov. Black tries to hide with king h7, but the queen comes back to e4 anyway. f3, king h7, queen takes e4 check, king g8. The knight on h5 protects g7, but Shirov found a way to just pick it up. Attacking king and knight at the same time, queen d5 check, king h7, queen takes h5, rook f6 played. Why not a takes b4? Perhaps getting some counterplay with rook a1 check. This looks like an attempt, but white has a nice move. The rook is attacking g7, so let's get another piece to attack g7 as well. Bring the queen back with queen g4, and white is okay, because rook a1 check doesn't do anything, because white has an escape square on d2, rook a1 check, king d2, and we're just coming in. After king d2, there is nothing. Queen g7 is mate, queen e4, knight can come back to f5, you can't stop it. Rook g8 is the same outcome as before. This nice smothered mate idea. Back to the game, rook f6 played, and now knight comes back to e4, rook g6, and now queen f5, planning h4, h5, a horrible pin. The rook on g6 doesn't exist. Rook a6 played in the game, why not a takes b4? Nice finish here. A takes b4, same idea as before, rook a1 check. But the fact is the rook is pinning along the 7th, the queen is pinning along this diagonal. So let's bring the knight in, really cool finish, knight f6 check. King has to go back and then queen takes g6, and once again the king can escape on d2. After rook a6, Shirov played h4 and then black resigned. h4 threatens h5, so what happens if h5 is played? Well, knight g5 check, it will be mate very soon, the king has to come up, it can't go back or else rook c8, knight f7, queen takes h5, you can't go back, so rook h6, and now knight g5 check. And then that's it. If the king goes back, rook c8 or queen e8 is mate. A brilliant attacking game from Shirov. It really was fire on the chessboard. Check out one video here and check out another video over here. Why not like it and subscribe to the channel at the same time? Hit that bell to get notified each time I release a new video.